Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to Ophalek. Also just want to say first and foremost, fair use as well with this video that I'm using from the Kim Iverson show. I also put the copyright disclaimer in the description box. But getting into this lesson, just for a couple of days, just been watching a couple of videos dealing with this, which I'll just say it outright, this Epstein list and things like that. And there was a video that this woman, Kim Iverson, did a couple of days before where she said she never really got into the whole Epstein list or, that type of she called it QAnon, which I believe was a term for conspiracy theorists. So she was one of those people who was of the opinion that this was conspiracy theories, and she didn't believe in these type of things. And she's not the only person that has that type of mindset. There are other people that have that type of mindset that believe that the things that they hear when it comes out to things like the Epstein list, things like that, even going back to like, Lord's willing, the Lord covers this video, but like 9/11, things like that's all conspiracy theories, which the information on Epstein, 9/11, the information has always been out there, right? Even things like the Illuminati, stuff that famous people that we know about, whether they be Jay-Z, Beyonce, Kanye, Kim Kardashian, you name the list, and even going down to sports players as well. It is a fact, right? Not a conspiracy theory. It is a fact, and information has been put out there for years of individuals doing things to get ahead or to get a certain position or certain positions in life. And a lot of these things are satanic. A lot of these things are nasty and disgusting things that they have to do to get ahead in life. And this information is not something that's new to 2026. This information has always been out there, but people like this woman, Kim Iverson, right now, she doesn't say that in this video, but she always looked at it as QAnon, right? She looked at it as conspiracy theories, something that's not really, that's just probably a story out there made up and things like that. But the information, to quote that show back in the day, X-Files, the truth is out there. The truth, the information of things that go down, Jekyll Island, Bohemian Grove, and all that type of stuff, right? These islands or these far off areas to where they do these satanic worship and things like that is not something that this information is new in the year 2026. This information has always been out there. People have just disregarded it, right? And I have not only this video here to show, just going to go through this, but I'm going to go through it as well. But yeah, okay, cool. And bring out some precepts, but even I have another video as well that I even shared with brothers. And some of the things that he says is just very straightforward, right? But we're going to get to that one in like the second half of the video. Excuse me. Right? So let's get into this right now.
All right, guys, breaking news. Names are dropping from the Epstein files. This is after Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie went and were able to look at the files for 2 hours. They were able to question the Department of Justice for why certain names were redacted when they should not have been redacted. Remember, the FBI and the DOJ were saying that they were just redacting victims' names, that they were trying to protect victims. And Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna said, yeah, that's bullshit. You guys are protecting perpetrators, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. So after 2 hours, they were able to discover from their search in that 2-hour window, just in a 2-hour window, after looking at, there's 3 million files, and I think they only looked at about 60 of the 3 million or something along those lines, not very many. And they were able to uncover the names of 6. And today, Ro Khanna named all 6. Last night, we got 2 of the names. We got Les Wexner. We also got the Sultan, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem. But today, Ro Khanna announced to Congress all 6 names. Let's watch.
Congressman Massie and I went to the Department of Justice to read the unredacted Epstein files. We spent about 2 hours there, and we learned that 70 to 80% of the files are still redacted. In fact, there were 6 wealthy, powerful men that the DOJ hid for no apparent reason. When Congressman Massie and I pointed this out to the Department of Justice, they acknowledged their mistake. And now they have revealed the identity of these 6 powerful men. These men are Salvatore Navora, Zorab Mikoladze, Leopig Leonor, Nicola Caputa, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World, and billionaire businessman Leslie Wexner.
Okay, who are these men?
And like Elder Yashwamba always mentions, tying the things happening worldwide to the scriptures, because the scriptures have all the answers. The reason why these men are protected, the reason why these men are not, like it has here in Psalm 73 and verse 5, they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. So the reason, or one of the reasons why they don't get in trouble like other people, is because they're in powerful positions. They know things. They have one of the things, which is a resource, is money. And money is something that you can use to shush people, to quiet people. Another resource is knocking people out, if you understand what I'm saying, right? Knocking people out, taking people out, if you understand what I'm saying. So this is why these men are able to get away with these things, because of the power and the resources that give them availability to do things that the common everyday person wouldn't be able to do. Right? And there's a reason why I'm saying that, because that's also going to tie into this the other video that I have. Because yes, even you common everyday individuals would do some of the things that these people do. What you're just lacking is, of course, what? Power and money. If you had these things, a lot of common people would do the same thing, maybe not on the same level, but to a degree, the same type of nasty and debaucherous things that these individuals do. Maybe not like that, but maybe you would be with women or whatever have you. But you would still follow along that same line of stuff. You're just missing the money. That's all. So as it says here again, verse 5, they are not in trouble as other men. Reason why is because they have money. That money gives them access to do things that the common person would not be able to do, to get them out of trouble that the common person would not be able to get themselves out of trouble with.
Okay, who are these men? First of all, Thomas Massey confirmed that the Sultan was the sender of the torture video. So Thomas Massey says, in response to my post on X today, this was yesterday, DOJ unredacted an FBI file that labels 2 individuals as co-conspirators, unredacted a file that lists several men who might be implicated, tactically admitted that Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem was the sender of the torture video. What are we talking about? That is, this is the Sultan himself, and this is the torture email that he sent. Jeffrey Epstein emailed him asking, where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video. And the Sultan wrote back, I'm in China. I will be in the U.S. second week of May, sent from his BlackBerry device. So this is the guy who was apparently torturing somebody in a video, or sent a video of somebody being tortured, whether it was him or somebody else. He sent it to Epstein, and Epstein sat there and said he loved the torture video. Who is the Sultan?
And a lot of your people who are in high positions are into these type of things and do these type of things. There is, just as the saying goes, levels to everything. At the top, you have like your Epsteins and things like that, and those who are around him, right? Or really at the top would be the top banking families, the elites, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, so on and so forth. But then underneath them, you may have like the Epsteins and those who are in the circle of Epstein. And then underneath them, it may be a different circle and things like that, right? But it's still the same satanic type stuff. But of course, when you reach to a one level, there's a level that's even above that they do even crazier stuff. Then the next level may be like an Epstein above that they on islands and things like that. Then the next level above that is with the elites, and let's just say they meeting face to face with Satan, right? Having conversation with them. Maybe, the spiritual demon Satan or a demon talks through one of their priests and things like that. And then, hey, they having a conversation on what they should do and things like that. That's like, let's just say, the highest level right there. The highest level of exposure to the left-hand side. But these are people that would do these type of things. And to show you, right, that Americans would do these type of things is because what? You see it in movies, and maybe you've run across somebody, a friend, or maybe somebody that you've known or acquaintance, that what? They mess with the Ouija board. They try to what? Have seances or talk to spirits and things like that. Well, the elites do the same thing. It's just that what? They're not playing around. They do it at the highest level. But the common, everyday, average individual is doing it at the lowest level. But it's still the same thing. It's just a different level. And again, like I mentioned, the reason why I mentioned this because this will tie into the next video. So you have something that goes on here in America, because you have something where it's like, oh my God, these people are nasty. These people do these type of things. But yet Americans, your everyday common American, will do this same stuff. Again, you're just lacking money, which is a resource that gives you access to do certain things. But a lot of common everyday Americans would do the same exact thing. If they could go out there and act out their fantasies of wanting to talk to Satan, I'm a Satanist, I believe in Lucifer, yeah. Well, guess what? If they had the money and ability, they would do the same thing that the elites would do. It's just they don't have the money to do those things. They don't have the access or the ability to do those things. But so what? They do it in the best way that they possibly can by messing with a Ouija board, maybe doing a seance here and there, lighting some candles, rolling their eyes to the back of the head, whatever have you, whatever they do. And that's what they do. They try to emulate what they know is happening at the highest level, the best way that they can. So you see, this whole thing that goes on in America about, and I'm just kind of, to a degree, regurgitating something that a dude said in the video, but he's right when I was just, meditating on it, is that this whole thing of, oh my God, this Epstein stuff, and this is nasty, this is crazy, but this is the American culture. This is the American lifestyle. And this is not something that is new. This is something that has been always going on. It's just that what? Because it's not affecting your life or it's not putting money in your pocket, really, let's just be honest, you don't care. And this is me speaking from a position of experience. And when I say experience, meaning that I was in the world at one point, right, before I found out about the truth. And I'm telling you the mindset of a person who was in the world at one point. And being honest, I knew about some of the stuff that, because I remember when I came out of high school a little bit, I had gotten into the Illuminati and things like that. And I remember watching certain videos about like the checkerboard and things like that, the certain symbolisms that they would do in certain the videos. One I remember was the Rihanna thing, and it was the umbrella thing. And I remember them saying, I can't remember the exact wording, but when she was waving her hands, the way that the water would splash, it would sometimes make like a outline of a face with devil horns. And the person said in the video that the way that she's moving her hands, it should not be making something of an image with a face with horns on it. So why is that happening? It's just putting, that satanic, demonic stuff, vibration out there in the music. So I remember watching and getting into that stuff when I was in high school. And yeah, it was very interesting and things like that. But after a while, I guess through the spirit just had me just get away from that stuff. But I remember getting into it. And do you think that I really cared? Now, yeah, at the time when I was younger, I would be like, oh, damn, this stuff is crazy. Because, when you find out information like that, you're like, oh, snap, this is what they really do. That's crazy. But what? Because it's not affecting my life, because it's not putting money in my pocket, or I'm not really affected, they do what they do. Yeah, I know about that type of stuff. It's whatever. Because at the time, really, you do accept that type of stuff. You really just, you go along to get along with that type of stuff. And that's the American way. It's at the front, oh my God, that's so sad. But really, in your heart of heart, you really don't care. Now, yeah, maybe are there some people that you care? Yeah, like brothers, we care because like, hearing about this type of stuff is disgusting. It's nasty. You can be very sure that there's a lot of Israelites involved in that type of stuff, our people. But really, that's because what? The Spirit of the Lord is on us now. We have an understanding of things. So that's why our care is towards this, where it's like, this is disgusting. This type of stuff should not be happening. But for people in the world, it's like, okay, all right. It ain't happening to me. It's not affecting me or bothering me. And that's what it is. That's how it really goes. So this whole act, and maybe again, maybe with her it's not an act. Maybe with some people it's not an act. They truly do care, but they just don't have the means or the power or anything to do anything about it. But really, most people in America, it's like, don't care. They just don't care.
Ahmed bin Sulayem, he was born in 1955 in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. He is a prominent Emirati businessman. He is the group chairman and CEO of DP World, a global logistics and ports company operating in over 80 countries, and chairman of the Ports Customs and Free Zone Corporation. He played a key role in developing Dubai's infrastructure, including the Jebel Ali Free Zone, and holds a BS in economics from Temple University. Isn't that in the United States? So did he study here in the U.S.? Yeah, that is in Philadelphia. In the Epstein files, he's linked through the emails from 2015 where he discussed personal encounters, including one about the best sex I ever had. and Epstein referenced a torture video in correspondence. He continued emailing Epstein after Epstein's 2008 conviction for procuring a minor for prostitution. Ben Sulayem has a verified X account with over 17,000 followers, focusing on DP World and trade. Just going to go to his X account here in a second just to see if there's anything that's said. And no, the last time he posted was last October. So not that long ago, but I wonder if he's going to say anything now. And I actually don't even know what the laws are in the United Arab Emirates, and if torturing some girl or woman, even sleeping with minors, I don't know what their laws are. And that I think is important, because where did these encounters happen? I think that matters quite a bit on whether or not there's going to be any justice. But what I think it does show, obviously, is that Jeffrey Epstein, like we know, he was able to get to the top echelons of power, and these are all billionaires that are on this list. So we're not looking at the politicians just yet. I think that's interesting. I think there's maybe even that's by.
So she said that these are all billionaires. So like I was mentioning, a lot of your people that people look up to today, just using some names, I'm not too familiar with famous people, but like your Jay-Z's, your Beyonce, right? I'll use even something like Cardi B and all that type of stuff, Glorilla, Meg Thee Stallion. What were these individuals, right? They were you. And I've made this statement before that essentially these celebrities are just you, common people, just with money. So when I say that, at one point, Cardi B, if I'm not mistaken, she was from the Bronx. She was an everyday chick. But now Cardi B is Cardi B. She is who she is now. And best believe that Cardi B had to do satanic things to get into the position of where she is at now. Yes, she may have had talent, which if you want to say Cardi B is talented, okay, whatever. But you have to understand, the talent, so to speak, really gets your foot in the door, right? But in order for you to get into the room, you have to be willing to do in order to get into the room, and in order to get into other rooms, you have to be willing to do certain things. And there's been even certain individuals that videos on YouTube, you could probably look them up if you put in the right description and the right wording in the box, that some have said that, hey, they went to certain parties of certain celebrities and said that, hey, when they passed by certain rooms, they saw certain celebrities and they heard certain things and they saw certain things. And they said that, hey, when it was presented to them, they said they didn't do that because they're not down with those certain things. Whether it being performing fellatio on another individual, maybe another man doing something with another man, a man doing something with a woman, so on and so forth. Again, the talent is really for the masses of people. The talent is not for those who are going to hire you and things like that. That's not how you get up into the next level, or, up there in the world, is not based upon your talent. You can have all the talent in the world. That doesn't matter to them. Again, like I said, the talent just gets your foot in the door, right? It stops them from closing the door unto you, right? What opens the door unto you, right? What makes them open the door unto you is what? The things that you're willing to do, which is what? These satanic practices that happen behind the scenes that, quote unquote, people don't really know about, right? But it's being exposed a lot more to people today, but it's always been something that people know about and have heard about, but they just disregard it. Because if they're not in that position, why do I care? It's not affecting me. I'm not there. So why do I care? But these things have always been going on, have always happened. So you can best believe Cardi B has done things in order to get there. Like I said, if you want to call Cardi B talented, okay, fine. That talent got Cardi B's foot in the door. But in order for them to open the door onto her, she had to do certain things, whether that was drinking blood, maybe making a type of sacrifice, so on and so forth. That made them open the door onto her. You see? But the talent that she has, if you want to say that she has talent, is not for them that's allowing her to get on a higher level. No. The talent is for the masses of people, for you, in order for her to make her money off of you. The talent is for the masses. What she's willing to do behind closed doors is for them. So if some of you believe that, oh, she's really talented, that's why she's getting her recognition, no. The talent is for the everyday average individual that's going to buy her music, get into her music, wherever you may buy her music from. The talent is for the masses. The talent is not for them. Because you can have all the talent in the world, but if you're not willing to do what they want you to do, whether it be making this type of sacrifice, doing some type of stuff like that, they do not care. You're going to stay right where you are with all your talent. And there's plenty of people who are talented. But why is it that they're not in Hollywood or not up there? Because some of them are just not willing to do those certain things. That's why. And a lot of your people, like this guy, people who are up there do these type of crazy things, which let me get a precept. Because these are, as the scriptures say, nothing new under the sun. There was also other videos that came out with Epstein, and they would eat the brains of infants. Now this is, if I'm not mistaken, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12 in the GNT. Well, makes sense. It's GNT, right? Okay. Yep. And this is going back to during the time the sins of the Canaanites. But what, like the scriptures say in Ecclesiastes, the first chapter, that there is nothing new under the sun. So these satanic practices that you hear about go back during the time of the Canaanites and during the time of the ancient world. And these are the type of things that they would do. Right? It's just modern now. What was once ancient is now modern practices, but it's still the same practice. We're just living in the modern world now. So verse 3, you hated the people who lived in your holy land long ago, talking about the Canaanites, right? Before Joshua and the Israelites took over the land. Because they did horrible things. They practiced magic and conducted unholy worship. They killed children without mercy and ate the flesh and blood of human beings. And that is something, again, like I mentioned, information that on Epstein Island, and not just Epstein's Island, as well as maybe others, that this is what they do. They drink the blood of people, right? All the stuff that he did with children and things like that. They were eating the brains out of children's skull. I apologize if you have kids, you may want to move them away, but this is the type of stuff. This is why we have to be delivered from bloody men. These people are insane. These people are crazy. But this, for you everyday people that look at Cardi B and look at Meg Thee Stallion, Glorilla, and all these people, and you worship them, quote unquote, you may not think that you do, but you do, and think that they got there because of their talent. No, again, like I mentioned, their talent just gets them in their foot in the door. But what gets them to those next levels is the sacrifices, the eating of the flesh of human beings, practicing magic and conducting unholy worship. That's what gets them at higher levels, not their talent. They can have all the talent in the world. If they're not willing to do these type of things, you're not getting in this club. You're staying right where you are. And that's how it is. The talent is not for them. The talent is for the masses. It's for you. That's who the talent is for. Have you ever realized that what? They make music for the masses, for the people. See, the talent is for you to see. The talent is not for them. The talent just shows them, okay, this person has something here. We can use them. All right, well, are they willing to do certain things? Find out. If they are, let them on. If they're not, well, we have no use for them. As talented as you may be, if you're not willing to do that, oh well. Because think about it. What you're not willing to do, there's somebody else who is desperate enough that is willing to do it. So these are the things that these billionaires and these politicians, these are the type of things that they do. They get into these type of things. They do these type of things. They smile on your face, right? And look at you like, hey, they're these noble people, but on their islands or in their private mansions, these are the things that they do. A good movie to watch to show you that they really put it in your face out there. I think it's called Blink Twice or Blink Fast. I apologize, but it's a recent movie that maybe came out within about 2 years. It's with Channing Tatum. Channing Tatum's in the movie. And I think a woman, I forgot the other main chick's name. Actually, I don't know her name at all. But I know Channing Tatum's in it. I think it's called Blink Twice or Blink Fast. And I know another chick that's in there, Adria Arjona, I think is her name. I think that's how you say her name. She's in the movie. Maybe if you look up Channing Tatum and Adria Arjona, what movie they were in together recently, maybe you'll find it. But I think I know the movie's name has something to do with Blink. It's either Blink Twice or Blink Fast, one of the two. And that movie takes place on an island, and they were doing crazy things as well. And Channing Tatum is a famous billionaire celebrity. But on the forefront, oh, he's like this great guy, but on the island doing a whole bunch of craziness. That's what they do. And they put it out there for you people to see. But people like Kim Iverson that probably thought, oh, this is QAnon, this is conspiracy theorists, this is not real. But this is what the top of the top, this is what they do out there.
I think that's interesting. I think there's maybe even that's by design. I think that there's still a lot of power players behind the scenes. I mean, Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna said that it's still 70 to 80% are redacted of the files. They're not supposed to be redacted, and they still are. Well, a lot of names are being protected probably because they're still valuable. They're still useful, I should say. Is this guy useful for whatever the blackmail reason was that they had him in, or maybe not? And a lot of times billionaires, it's not that they themselves are useful, it's who they know and who they could buy that's useful. So if you get a billionaire in your pocket and that billionaire can fund whatever it is you want funded, or they can pressure, let's say, a politician because they have the means to support their campaign, then you get the politician just by getting the billionaire. You don't even have to get the politician. Both parties want you to believe they're working for the people, but let's be honest, Washington is...
All right, so we're going to stop right there with that video. We're going to get into the other one, but the other one, I'm not going to have the time sped up. That one, this one here, we're going to take our time with this one. I'm just going to let you listen to what he got to say, and I may interject here and there throughout this, through the spirit here and there.
Got a pile of clothes you never wear anymore? Turn them into cash with Vinted. Snap a photo, list your...
Normal.
And like I was mentioning, for the first video and for this video, fair use as well. But we're going to get into this. Yeah, we're going to normalize this. I think or maybe we'll just 125 it. And just listen very closely to what he's saying. And I already kind of said essentially some of the things that he said earlier on in the video.
I mean, do you really think that he's the only... The Epstein files are not a big deal. He isn't wrong. Because what Epstein was doing is absolutely, completely normal for them. It's completely normal. I mean, do you really think that he's the only one who had hookers on retainer? You think he's the only millionaire or billionaire who's got hookers on retainer, that has a cadre of young women that he can provide as amenities and as party favors for his friends? Don't be silly. Don't be naive. I don't know why you would think that. Your rich people come from the same culture you come from. The truth is that most of you are Epsteins, just minus the money. That's a fact. It's like when I was talking about Diddy last time, when the Diddy case was going on. This is the lifestyle, and this is the behavior that your culture applauds, and it endorses, and it teaches you to aspire to.
Pause it right there. Like I was mentioning, some of these things I was saying earlier, is that some of you, everyday average people, are Diddy Juniors and Epstein Juniors. Now, maybe you won't do things with small children and eating brains and all that type of stuff. But what do we know about college? A lot of orgies and sex parties and things happen there. I'll tell you one thing, a show that is another good example that shows you the things that happen behind the scenes is the TV show The Boys. I apologize if I spoil a little bit, but in the intro, we're introduced, I believe it's the first episode, we're introduced to Starlight, who Starlight you can liken unto now the TV show deals with people who have superpowers, right? But you can liken Starlight unto a person that may have talent, right? They have abilities, maybe let's just say to sing. And so they're thinking that, hey, my talent is what got me up here, because she wants to be a part of the Seven and things up there. She wants to be a superhero, right? Because she thinks that's, hey, when you see Homelander, I think Queen Maeve, what's his name? Black Noir, The Deep. It's like, oh, okay, these guys are actually superheroes and they actually help people, because that's how they're portrayed out there to the masses as superheroes. But mind you, in this show, they don't actually save anybody at all. They don't do any superhero stuff. They don't save people. But it's put out there that they do movie things and stuff like that, and they have commercials that promote them that make you think that, hey, these guys with superpowers actually are superheroes. But they're not superheroes. They don't do anything heroic in the movie at all. So eventually she gets up there and she meets the Deep. Now, her and the Deep are in a dark room, all right? It's dark, but it's not too dark that you can't see either of them or whatever. And to abridge it for you, right, because I don't entirely remember the words that were said, but the Deep was like, hey, if you really want to make it in the Seven, he pulls down his pants and is like, yo, you gotta, if you understand what I'm saying. She's like, I'm not doing that. So he's like, okay, well, you're not being a part of the Seven. Now, mind you, this is a person that she has worked her whole life to get up to to get into this position. And now it's like, well, damn, you're not going to follow through. It's like, don't you really want to be in the 7? So again, to Bridget, she goes down on the deep, right? And then they show her, now they don't show that, but they show her in the bathroom and she's yakking up, after having, went down the deep. But that's to show you that, hey, this is the type of stuff that happened, even with women, right? I'll give a scenario, right? This is something that I was meditating on that popped in my head. The reason why is because 50 Cent is known as a troll, right? If you follow him on Instagram, and 50 Cent recently, if I'm not mistaken, before the year end, did a Diddy documentary, right? 50 Cent is not clean either. 50 Cent has done things as well to get into the position throughout his years of where he is at. He may not admit it, you may not know it, but we can all say that 50 Cent, even I've liked his music and things like that, Many Men, all that type of stuff. 50 Cent is a talented individual, but his talent got his foot in the door. But what helped him get up there and get promoted and be known as G-Unit, 50 Cent, all that, was what? What he was willing to do. So maybe, hey, he had to have a man play with his butthole. He had to play with the man's butthole. These are the things that, hey, it may sound funny, but I don't think it sounds so funny now, right? With all this information with Epstein and things like that, it's making people look at things differently. So as much as 50 Cent likes to troll people and things like that, 50 Cent is not clean himself either. He has done things in order throughout his life to get in certain positions and things like that. So, and what I was thinking about is you have that TV show Power, if I'm not mistaken. I forgot if he's like the director. I forgot his position with that show, but I know he's like heavily involved in that show. And there is one chick in that show that looks good. Her name is, I don't know her actual name, but her name in the show is Effie. Now, this is just something that came to mind. Whatever the chick's name is that plays Effie, what people would say today, she's fine shit. She looks good, right? She's a beautiful young woman. Now, let's just say this is something that may have happened, may not happen. I wasn't there, but it is something that happens. Hey, you're a talented young woman, but let's just be honest, really, you're more known for your looks. In order for her to get that role on being Effie on, again, like I said, I don't know the actress's name, but let's just say, hey, 50 Cent likes what he sees. Okay, yeah, hey, young ma, you real talented, but what are you really willing to do to get this position? And hey, he presents it to her, and she may not know what he means by that at first, but then obviously after a while he makes it known, like, yo, if you want this position, you're gonna have to do something for me. And in her mind, she's thinking innocently, like, oh, what do you mean I have to do? Yeah, sure, whatever. Well, hey, you willing to do da-da-da. I just gave you the scenario with, in The Boys, hey, the Deep pretty much made Starlight do the act by saying, hey, if you want to make it into the 7, you got to, pardon my language, but you got to suck it, right? He didn't say that outright, but when you pull your pants down, you know what that means. So, hey, same thing with this scenario. She's a good-looking woman. She's a good-looking chick. 50 Cent may have liked what he saw. It's like, yo, listen, I want that. And if you want this position in my TV show as Effie or whatever, you can get it. But you gotta be willing to drop the pens and let me get in that. Now, her talent, she may be a very talented actress, but her talent is not what gets her in the room. It's what she's willing to do to get into the room. See what I mean? Just using that as an example, right? But 50 Cent, like I said as well, although he may troll people and things like that, 50 Cent is not clean himself either. 50 Cent has either had his butthole played with or he's been a booty bandit himself. Maybe drinking blood, whatever have you, but he has had to do something. None of these people are squeaky clean. These people have all done some satanic, demonic stuff to get into the position where they're at. That's why I keep mentioning that their talent gets their foot in the door. But that's it. It's what they're willing to do that gets them into the room.
I mean, most people are not going to go through the Epstein files. Think about this. They're not going through the Epstein files to try to investigate, the possible architecture of private sector influence that he supposedly operated. They're not looking for that. What are they looking for? They're looking for salacious details about girls and about sex and about sadism and whatnot. Sex parties. That's what you're doing. Scouring through, trying to find the most lurid, the most lecherous, the most depraved information that you can, because you have an appetite for that. The truth is, you're not outraged, you're stimulated. Your whole culture is obsessed with this kind of thing. And your rich people, like I say, they're no different from you. They just have money. They just have the money and they have the power to live out what is actually, in reality, your collective fantasy in the West. And when
Right. And he's going to mention it, the mansions and all that. What do you always see? Somebody with a mansions. And what do Jake try to do? Always holler at all these type of chicks. You're living out essentially what you see other people do. Essentially, if you look at the way people dress, the way they talk, because they listen to the music, they're trying to emulate Cardi B. They're trying to emulate Glorilla. They're trying to emulate Meg Thee Stallion. The only thing is they just don't have the money and things like that. But you're trying to emulate what you have seen and the people that essentially you aspire to be like. You aspire to be like a Cardi B. You aspire to be like a Gloria. Who these are all wicked individuals. But on the forefront in society, when they go to the, the Grammys or whatever, they show themselves as these great, cool people. But really, they're all Satanists as well. They all worship Satan to a degree. Maybe not as much as the elites. They're not willing to do that type of level of stuff. But they do well enough. And all of the common everyday individual of our people, you so-called African Americans, you follow these people. You actually want their lifestyle, but not understanding that this is a part of the lifestyle. The same thing that you'll sit there and say, oh, that's nasty, but you want that lifestyle. And that's what he says in this video, is that you actually are jealous of that lifestyle. You want to be like Cardi B. Some of you want to be like Jay-Z. Some of you want to be these individuals. You just lack the money. So really, a lot of you that sit there and be like, oh my God, this is so crazy. A lot of you are jealous because you want to live out these fantasies. Again, some people may not want to do the whole eating and drinking of blood and all. Okay, fine. But you still want to live this stuff out. You want to do these things that they do. You just can't because you lack the money. You lack the resources. And again, like I mentioned earlier, college. These college sex parties, and that's just a very low level of what happens on these islands. They're just living out these things because that's American culture.
one or two women who are victimized, one or two women who are victimized from the multitude of women who were involved, when victims come forward, because the fantasy actually has consequences on real people. When you actually live it out in real life, the fantasy has victims. So when the victims come forward, then you express shock and you express outrage, which, if truth be told, is driven more by envy than by anything like a genuine conscience. And now you get to be the self-righteous mob, with your torches and pitchforks, storming the palace of the debauched aristocracy whose lives and whose lifestyles you wish you had, but you don't have. And that's what makes you angry. I mean, be serious. How many music videos, think about this, how many music videos have you seen that are not set in a mansion or by a pool or on an island where you have some male performer who's absolutely submerged in an ocean of scantily clad women who are framed in that video as party favors? No, you're hypocrites. You're hypocrites. You approve of that fantasy. You promote that fantasy. And you know perfectly well that the rich can and do live out this fantasy in real life. And it's all completely approved of. And it's all completely encouraged and aspired to in popular culture, because your popular culture.
My bad real quick, but why do you think our people put such an emphasis on getting money? Because what? If you get money, you can start to live that lifestyle that you've always seen, that has been pretty much programmed in your mind. Why do you think Jake does what they do? They go to the clubs, they smoke in hookah, you're emulating what has been put and programmed into your mind. That's all you're doing. I use myself for an example. Why did I get tattoos when I was younger? Because you saw football players getting tattoos. And you saw it was cool because why? You're trying to emulate and copy who you see, who you idolize. It's the same thing. If you're honest with yourself, you would sit there and say, yeah, I am trying to be like these people. Because some of these people are looked at as our stars, our heroes. They're a person that I wish I could be like that. So he's 100% right. A lot of these people that you're looking at, again, Cardi B, Glorilla, a lot of these women, they're not good women. And a lot of you women already aren't good women either way, but you want to be like them. That's why a lot of women dress the way that they dress, act the way that they act. Because it's been ingrained in you to behave like this. So that's why you try to live out a rich person's lifestyle by popping bottles, going to the club, smoking hookah, doing all this stuff. It's the same thing that if you check some of these famous people's Instagram, Jake is doing the same exact stuff because they want to emulate that stuff. Because like he's saying, he's correct. They really want to live out that lifestyle. But not knowing that living that lifestyle comes with that stuff as well.
It's continuously in puberty. I said your popular culture is a teenage boy. No, Epstein came from your culture. Clinton came from your culture. Musk, Gates, Summers, whoever else. Yes, everybody knew what Epstein was doing. No question about it. Of course they knew what he was doing. They were doing it too. And they still are. None of these people needed Jeffrey Epstein to provide this kind of thing for them. He was just one of their own, doing what they all do and living out your collective Western degenerate fantasy. That's a fact. I've talked about this before. We all know you're like this. Everyone in the world knows that you're like this. You can act shocked. You can act disgusted as much as you want, but no one believes you. No one believes you who knows anything at all about your culture, who knows anything at all about your history, and who knows anything at all from their direct experience of your character. You were like this in every country. You were like this in every country that you invaded and that you colonized. You were like this on your plantations. Yes, you lived out your fantasy, your Epsteinian fantasy with African women on your plantations. I said the founding fathers of your country are the original Epstein list.
Hey, he said it, not me. I'm going to just stop it right there. But remember what they did to us on the plantation? The buck breaking, they're taking our women. That's the American way. And what do you see now? What does Jake do? Taking other women that's not theirs. What do you have now? Men and men doing that's, I don't want to say it's buck breaking, but it might as well be following the same suit. All honesty. So that's the American way. That's the Edomite way. But it's just seen as something normal here. But to act like this is really to be like an Edomite, in all honesty. But like I said, hey, he said it, not me. The founding fathers of the original Epstein list. You see the nature of America. You see the nature of an American person. It's to, on the forefront, act as this noble, kind person, this caring person. But really, a lot of people are degenerates. They don't care. They're mean. They're nasty. You're all over the place. But on the forefront, it's to seem like you care. It's to seem like you're loving. But really, you're not. And even again, like I said, I'll use myself an example that, yes, I can admit that, hey, when I was back in the world, I did not give a fuck. I did not care. That's primarily my attitude. I do not give a fuck. I don't care. So it's like, I don't care about other people or care about this. I don't give a shit. That was my attitude. That's a lot of Americans' attitude. It's just, I'm very straightforward and blunt in telling you, get the fuck away from me. I don't give a shit about you. I don't give a fuck. I'm just very more straightforward. But there are other people that kind of sneak and pretend to act. Whereas I'm more straightforward. Other people kind of, oh yeah, I hear you. See, they're more that how can I put it? That fake humility type stuff. I wasn't with that. It's like, yo, I don't give a shit. Get the fuck away from me. Other people's like, yeah, I hear you. And, if there's anything you ever need or, that's real sad. That fake humble, that fake nice type of stuff. But really, they don't care. A lot of people will, hey, you may have been with them today. Tomorrow, they're no longer with you. And they just look at you as like another person. They just look at you as like you're just trash. But, hey, they'll tell you, hey, you were a good person to them. You were this and that. But really, if you watch their actions, think about it. Would you really treat people like trash or like nothing if they were so good to you? If they were really, think about it, right? If this person was really gold to you, right? Let's liken a person to gold. If this person was really gold to you and things like that, if you were to actually find gold, would you just, oh, that's gold, I'm going to just throw that away like it's nothing? No. If you find gold, you're going to treasure that. You're going to hold on to it. Because what? It's valuable. And that's how people are treated here in America. You're treated as if you're just, on the forefront, you'll say, hey, you were a good person to me, you were this and that. But really, I don't give a fuck about you, nigga. And if you observe the actions, that will show you that, hey, I don't care. It's just to save face of, yeah, you were a great person, you were there for me, you had my back and things like that. But, that's all. And yeah, I understand that sometimes, sometimes people come in your life for a season, all that type of stuff. But it's how they treat you and things like that. That really lingers and sometimes stays with you and shows you how they really truly felt about you. that people would just drop you so quick. But hey, you were so valuable, you were so this, but really were you? When you see the after effect of how they treated you and how quick they were to drop you. This is just me, speaking from experience and seeing even certain things in my life as well. And even when I say my life, not just my life personally, but, observing things from other people's lives, I could say that as well. And seeing certain things, because I like to be an observer. I like to listen. I like to watch, because that's how, me personally, I primarily learn. And I learned a lot from watching certain things and listening and watching people and seeing things. That's how I was able to, as a young man, avoid certain troubles and things like that. But also sometimes when I did see certain things in my life and when it happened, I saw it and was like, oh, okay, I get it now. I understand it now. So really, this American culture is really it's really fake. It's the smile on your face like you see at Edomite's job. Hey, how are you? But really, oh, this fucking nigga. This is America. This is what it really is. This is American culture. But hey, it's to act as if, you're just this moral people, but really you're not. And these things have always happened. Even common everyday Americans will try to do the same thing, but just in their own way. So really, none of you are good. You're all bullshit. You're all fake. You're all snakes. And this is the history of America. And you've always known this, but you always wanted to turn a blind eye and act like, oh, it's not really there. But you've always known that people who are rich and have power and things like that, these are the things that they've always done. It's just that you don't have money and access to do it. And it's not affecting your life, so why should you care? And that's really what it is. But I'll end the video there. I hope and pray this video has been edifying. In ending, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Racha Kodash. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the whole Folek. Shalom.